Hello friends, welcome again. I'm sure you would be enjoying this Python playlist. If you have not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe now. In this session, I am going to talk about list and tuples and a lot of use cases regarding that, right? So I would take a lot of examples in this so that you get an idea on how we work on this rather than just dummy examples. I'll talk about more real-time examples, right? So let's get started. So, just to let you know, I have two notepads open. One is where I'll be writing the notes. Second one is where I have some reference data that I do not want to type, right? I will copy paste from here. And I have my PyCharm open. So let's quickly get started. Okay. So the very first thing that I would like to talk about is how do we create a new list after performing some transformations. Let's say we want to create a new list after performing some transformations. That means there would be a list already. You would wish to do some transformations on top of that list and create a new list. For example, let me just pick this. This is, let's say, my list that I have, and the name of it is, I'll go here. Let's say this list is orders or order amounts, right? So these are the order amounts for whatever orders it is, let's say. So you understand this is a list and it contains 8 elements. Okay, that's good. Now, what you want to do is you understand that there is a 18% GST on these order amounts, and you want to, GST is, by the way, goods and service tax in India, right? So 18% GST is there on all orders. So you want to create a new list by adding the GST amount. So it should be inclusive of GST. This is excluding GST, let's say. You want to create a new list including GST amount. How will you create that new list? So let's say I can say my list name is orders, uh, including GST, including GST, right? And I'm creating this new list, let's say, which is empty right now. Nothing is there. I will work on this list and keep appending items to this. That's what I will do now. So I can apply a for loop for X in order amounts because I want to iterate over this. And for each item, let's say for each X, what I want to do, I want to basically append something to this. And what I want to append, I want to append an item which is X plus, right? I have to increase it by 18%. So I will say X plus X into 0.18, right? It can be this, or we can say X plus X into 18 divided by 100. Can be this also. But if I say 0.18, it's quite easy to understand. I hope this makes sense. So if, let's say, initially the value of X will be 100, so this will be 100 plus 100 into 0.18, that is 100 plus 18, which is 118. Next time the value of X will be 200, right? So 200 plus 200 into 0.18, that is 236, like that. And it will keep appending to this empty list. And later I can print it. How do I print? Print orders including GST. And I can just show you the results. And you can see 118, 236, 59, 590, and so on. That's our answer. So what we did, we applied a transformation over the list and created a new list, right? I hope this makes sense. I will just put all of this to my notepad. Now comes the very, very interesting part. Is there a better way of doing it? Is there a better way of doing it without writing so much of code? See, Python is a language where we write minimal code and get things done. But still, this looks to be a very traditional approach which works in other languages also. does Python have something special? Let me show you that. There is something called as list comprehension. List comprehension. What is list comprehension? It is nothing but like a syntactic sugar. You write less code and get the same things done. Right? That's the beauty of it. You write less code and get the same things done. If I have to do this in a better way, what I can do is I will remove this line altogether. Right? I will remove this line. So I'm reducing my code. Right? So what I will do is I'll just copy this. I'll just copy this. Or what I will do, I'll do a control Z here. I will write the code here for list comprehension. And later I will remove the previous code. I'm just doing it that okay, anyways, this input we are taking. After this, I do not want this I am not putting. I will just say for X in order amounts, right? For X in order amounts, what I want to do for each X, what I want to return? I want to return this, right? I want to return this. So I will place it before this. I will place it before this. And what I need to do is I need to just wrap it inside this square brackets, right? And I give the name of the new list that I want to create. Don't worry, you will understand it. I'll make sure you understand this. Do not worry. If you are not able to understand it till now, you need not worry, right? So what you can see is I have not put this line, I have not defined an empty list, and even this for loop, I am doing it in a single line for X in order amounts, right? And whatever is the return value, I think I did a control Z here, right? Append was this. It was here like this, right? So instead of saying this list dot append this, automatically I'm saying for each iteration, you give me this value and this will automatically be appended to this list, right? And now I can print this. I can just say print this. I will remove this previous part and this is equivalent to what we have done earlier. This is equivalent to what we have done earlier. And you can see we are getting the same results in lesser code, more concise code, more readable way, right? That's the beauty of it. So this is list comprehension. I'll just take this code and put it here. Just have a look. What have we done? This line is as it is. We need not define the empty list where we append. And that for X in order amounts, I just placed it for X in order amounts. And whatever we were appending, we just placed it before this for statement and wrap it inside this brackets, right? Square brackets. And I gave the name of what list we have to add. So automatically it's appended to this list. You need not define empty list and then say append, right? And in same line or one single statement, you are able to achieve whatever you are doing in three statements here, right? Earlier you were taking three statements to do. Now you are able to wrap it inside a single statement and you are printing it. This is called list comprehension. I mean, if you ask me in terms of performance, there might not be any difference. But in terms of your code or short code, and it's a more concise code, more readable, looks more elegant, and so on. I hope you can understand this. Very, very important concept in Python world. You should understand list comprehension very, very well. That's why I have multiple examples to cater to this. Right? Now, let me take a more generic example. Right? Let me take a more generic example. Let's say instead of this order amounts like this, we are having a tuple. I'll just show that. I'll tell what exactly I'm saying. So what I will do instead of this, I'm having a tuple, right? That means the item price was 100 rupees without GST and GST should be 5%. 200 rupees and 18% GST. So that means on different kind of order there can be different GST amount, right? Because on food GST is 5%, on some electronics it is 28%, on some other items it is 18%, some other items it is even 12%, right? So now let's say in the previous example we assume GST was 18% throughout, but now we are saying okay, this item has 5% GST, this has 18%, 12%, 18%, and so on. Now we need to find the total amount including GST. How do we go about it? How do we go about it? Right? So whenever you are new to this list comprehension, what I recommend you first you do it using for loop and then you convert it to a list comprehension. And once you get an expert, you can do it directly then. Right? So let me first do it using a for loop. I have done a control Z. Okay, let me remove this. Let me write it now. Orders including GST, right, equal to empty. So I am defining a empty list right now because I am doing it using a for loop as of now. For x in order amounts, right? For each x in order amounts, what I want to do, I want to append to this list. I want to append to this list. And what I want to append? I want to append x of 0. That means initially x is this particular thing, right? This is the first element in the list, 0th element, I would say. And inside this, if you want to get this price or amount, you have to say x of 0, right? Then you say plus x of 0, right? Into, I will multiply by this x of 1, right? So this is 100 into 5 divided by 100. Divided by, it would be 100. That's how you would calculate it, right? Very, very straightforward. And now I can say print orders including GST. Just have a look. So initially the value would be this. So we are saying 100 plus 100 into 5 divided by 100. That is 100 plus 5, 105. Same way next time it will be 200 plus 200 into 18 divided by 100. Right? I hope this makes sense. So we will get what? 236. Like that. Let me run this. You see this 105, 236, 56, and so on. So now this was a more generic example where we have not fixed the GST percentage at the start, rather it's variable based on each order, right? Now can we convert this to list comprehension? You can pause the video for 1 minute and try doing it by yourself. Okay, so now let me show you the solution, how we can do it using list comprehension. As I mentioned, this would not be required, but I will just copy this. This line I have removed, right? So for x in order amounts, I will have this. So this new list equal to, I will place this in brackets, right? And before this, what's the return value for this? Returning is this one, right? So I just take this and do. I'll remove this one now. So I will just say Control Shift, decreasing the font so that you can see it, right? Just have a look. For X in order amounts, what we want to do? What we want to do? We want to do this, right? This will be returned. And again, make sure you enclose it inside the square brackets. Let me see if it is working. And we are getting the same answer. So I hope this would have given you some clarity around what exactly is a list comprehension. I'll just take this code and put it in my notepad. right? Okay, that's great. Now what next we have to see? What if I want to return a complete tuple out of it? That means I want to get the answer instead of just saying 105, 236. I want to get the answer as, let's say, my answer I want to get tuples only. Like, for example, I would say I want a list of tuples now 100, 5, and 105, right? Then we want 200, 18, 236. Like this, if I want, how should I approach? Right? So it's very straightforward. So instead of just returning the value here, we enclose it inside a tuple, right? We enclose it inside a tuple, and the first value of tuple I will just say x of 0, right? Second value is x of 1, and third value is anyways this value, right? As straightforward. I mean, you do not have to do anything to this. If I run this, you can see 100 was the amount, 5 was the GST percent, and 105 is the amount including GST. 218 and 236, 50, 12, and 56. So you see that how easy it is to work on it if you have a good grip on list comprehension, right? If you have a good grip on list comprehension, this becomes super easy. I hope this makes sense to you. I mean, just to show everything to you on a single line, I can just show you that way, right? So we are good with this. I hope you have understood this well. Now, let me take one more example. See, why I am showing you multiple examples, because list comprehension can be confusing. I want to give you a in and out feel about it so that you become a master of it, you become a king of it, right? It's not that you become a normal person just like working on it, just like 1 lakh other folks. No, right? So let me give you one more example. Let's say let's say you want to create a nested list like this. You want to create a nested list. You want to create a nested list like this. Can you do it using list comprehension? If you can, wonderful. If you cannot, you see the video and I'll show you how to do. So, as I said, initially I will show you using for loop and then I will convert it to a list comprehension. Again, what we want is this, right? Now it is actually, if you see, 1, 1 square, 1 cube, right? 2, 2 square, 2 cube, 3, 3 square, 3, 3 cube, right? Cube, square means power 2, cube means power 3. Okay. So I will define nested list which I want to generate, and it's an empty list initially. I will keep appending to this. Now I will say for I in, since I have to generate numbers from 1, 2, and 3. So I can define a range from 1 to 4. From 1 to 4, right? So 1 is included, 4 is not. That's why, since I want numbers till 3, right? I can define from 1 to 4 because 4 is not included, it's excluded. Now I will say nested, uh, let's say I will say nested list dot append. Here I have to append, right? Nested list dot append. Now what I want to do, I can, what I have to append. I have to, so you see nested list is a list. Inside this I am mentioning this. That means I am creating a list again, one more list inside this. So I want to say I, comma, I into or power 2, to mention power, you just do it this way, two multiplication symbols, and then I power 3, right? And so initially the value is 1, so we get 1, 1 square, 1 cube, then we have 2, 2, 2 square, 2 cube, like that. And then if I print this, print nested list, let me see, and you can see this particular list that we want. So it's a nested list, outer list, inner list, right? Now, can you do it using list comprehension? Pause the video, try doing it. I hope you have tried. Okay, let me show you how to approach. So again, as I said, what I will do is I will just take this, right, for I in range. What do we want to get from this? What do we want to get from this? So for I in range, sorry, this one total, right? For I in range, this should return this particular thing, correct? So I will place it before this, and anyways I have to enclose this inside this square brackets, isn't it? Very straightforward, very straightforward. And what's the name of the new list that I want to create? Nested list, equal to this, right? I will remove all of this and I will just say print nested list. I'll take so many examples so that it should seem that it's super easy, it's fun, right? Just have a look. We have got the same results just with one line of code. That's the beauty of Python, right? If you think why Python is the most famous language, you see how concise the code can be, how neat the code can be, right? How elegant it can look, right? Okay, so this is fine. Now what I want to do is I want to flatten this list. Now you will say, Sumit sir, first you have created a nested list. Now you want to flatten it. What you want to do, right? I want to make the learning fun, right? So let us flatten this list now. Let us flatten this list. If I have to flatten the list, I can, so flatten list in the sense what I want, I'll just show. I wish to get this. I wish to get this kind of list. Given this list, I want to get this. How do I do? So I define flattened list equal to, right? Flattened list equal to, I would initially make it an empty list because I will as normally go with a for loop approach for now, right? It's an empty list. Now for sublist, see, we have a main list and we have a sublist. So for sublist in nested lists, right? What I want to do, so basically it's a two for loops, right? Because when I go with one, the outer for loop, it will help us to reach to one level inside, which is these lists. And then we can go one level again. So again, the second for loop for item in, for item in sublist, right? So that's how we can reach into the inner list. I hope this is clear. So let's say when we iterate over this, initially the sublist will be this, right? And then for item in sublist, so item would be this. So initially the item will be this, then this, and then the sublist will be this, then the item will be this, this, and this, like that. It will keep going. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now for item in sublist, I will say flattened list dot append, append what? We have to append the item. Append the item, and now we will say print flattened list. Print flattened list. Let me just run this and you can see we have got the results. So if you can see, it's super straightforward, super straightforward. Only thing is, what the complex part was two for loops, because it's a nested list. So we have to use two for loops. Can I do the same using the list comprehension? Can I do the same using list comprehension? Again, as usual, let me first write the code. So for this, I will take this, right? What after this, we have another for loop. So what I will do is, I will take for item in sublist, right? For item in sublist, I'll add it here. You can just check this. So for sublist in nested list, right? And then I took this, then I took this. And what it is returning? It is returning item. So I will just place item before this, and I will wrap it inside this particular brackets. And what's the name of this list? Flattened list. Flattened list equal to this. I will remove all of this, not required, and I will take this print statement down. And we get the same results. I hope now you would have got a fair enough idea about list comprehension and how to approach doing it. Because when you're working in a company, you might see a lot of code written in this style. Then you might wonder, what is this code? But if you know list comprehension, you can easily analyze that code, right? Okay, so we are good with this, and I am assuming that by this time you know list comprehension well. Okay, so now let's say I have this orders list. I have this orders list equal to this, right? Orders list equal to this particular list is there. So this is again a list of lists, nested thing. And we have the order details, order ID, order date, customer ID, customer state, order status. Now what I wish to do, I wish to filter orders by status. Let's say I want to filter only closed orders. How will I approach doing this? How will I approach doing this? I would highly encourage you to do it using list comprehension. Try it by doing yourself by pausing the video. Okay, so let me show you the solution. So let me directly try doing it without writing the for loop. How to approach? So if I would have written a for loop, how it would have been order, for order in orders list. For each order in orders list, right? That's how I would have gone to this particular thing. I would have definitely done that, right? Now I have written this, right? Now if order of 0, 1, 2, and 3, order of 3 equal to closed, closed, right? Then what I want to return? I want to return the order, the entire line I want to return, right? So I will just place order before this. So I would have generally, if you would have sensed that how I would have written it is with a for loop is, I mean, just in case if you are getting confused, I would have done it this way. I would have written a for loop, and then I would have written if order 3 equal to closed, then what I would have done, I would have written order, right? That means I would have appended something dot append order, but I am not doing it this way. I'm just returning order like this, and I will place it inside these kind of brackets. I hope this makes sense. And what I would give a name as a new list I'm creating, let's say closed orders. closed orders equal to, right? And then later I can say print closed orders, print closed orders, right? I will run this and show you that it's giving me the results using list comprehension. So many examples I have shown you about list comprehension. I think it should be, you should be good with it now. I feel so. Okay, so this is fine. Now another concept. Let's say I have my orders, right? I want to talk about the concept of unpacking. Unpacking now. A very small concept. Again, it helps you to reduce your code and very straightforward. So let's say I have my orders variable with this. Now, what if I want to get my order ID, let's say order order ID, and I would say orders of 0, right? That's how generally we do. Order date equal to orders of, let's say, 1, and I have customer ID equal to orders of 3, right? And order status equal to orders of, sorry, this is 2 and this becomes 3. That's how you would get these values, isn't it? So you would have to write this indexing, you have to use the indexes and multiple lines in order to do that. Is there a neat way, is there an easier way to do that without writing so much of code, without using the indexes? Is there a way? Yes, there is a way called as unpacking, using which you can do it in a single statement which looks very, very concise. You do not have to use the indexes also. And let me show you that. What you can do is simply say order ID, comma, order date, comma, customer ID, comma, order status, order status equal to orders. This is how easy it is to do this. Same thing. It's equivalent to this, all happening parallelly in one statement, right? I remove all of this, not required, because we get the same thing. If I say print order status, order status, let me show you. We are getting the order status, right? So this concept, this is again a syntactic sugar. This concept is called as unpacking. Same way you can unpack your tuples also, right? Just like you have unpacked your list. I hope this makes sense. Very small concept, but really, really good to know, right? Okay. So now let's say if someone asks you, can you generate a list of 100 numbers? I mean, a lot of times you might have to do that okay, you want to work on first 100 numbers. Then of course you can create a list of range 1 to 101, right? Just a small thing that I wanted to bring, numbers equal to list, and list is range from 1 to 101. 101 is not included, so it's from 1 to 100. And if I say print numbers, we will be able to see that, right? I hope this is clear about the range. Okay, sometimes it's useful to generate some test data and all of that in order to work on things. Now, I want to talk about slicing and all the features you have seen in strings. It works on lists also. So let me pick this customer's data. Let me pick this customer data. So I will say customer equal to this, right? I have put the customer data. Can just check this out. Uh, this is my customer data. Now, what I want to do is I want to, let's say, print, I want to print, uh, you tell me what it will print. If I say 0, 2, what is this concept? This slicing, you know that when we covered strings. So what this will print? Just think of it, it prints the first value and second value. That means it's zeroth index, first index, second index, but second is not included, right? So zeroth and first index it will print. So if I have to get the customer ID and name, then it's good, whatever we have written. Now let's say this was some username and password which is encrypted. I do not want that. I want to remove it. So what I can say, plus customer of, so 0, 1, 2, 3, from 4 again I can start, right? 4 till the end, whatever, everything. So I want to, my use case was I want to remove these two columns which are dummy columns for me as of now. So let me show you that. So one, the name, and then the address and so on. So we are able to concatenate to list using plus this way, right? You can see this. I hope this makes sense. Sometimes you would have these kind of scenarios. Now, what if, what if, so customer I have mentioned here, what if I want to append two lists? Two lists are given to you and you want to append those. Let's say I have a orders list and customer list. I have customer, and before this, let's say I have order equal to this. I want to create one consolidated list by, having these two together. I want to append these two. So what we can do is we can say order dot append customer. Order dot append customer. Right? As simple as that. Append is one of the function that we have, method that we have, and we can say print order. That means in orders list, it will append this, right? So order dot append customer. That means in the order list, please append the customer part. So you cannot do the same in tuple because tuple is immutable, but your list is mutable. That's why append is working. Now, if I run this, you will see that you are getting this whatever was there in orders, but this customer list is taken as it is and placed as a list only here. That means we get a nested list, right? You might be expecting that it will be a flattened one, like I will get value like one, Richard, but it's coming as a list together, right? That means this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I say order of 4, what it will print? It will print this entire thing. It will print this entire thing. Let me just show you that. Right? And if I say order of 3, what will it print? It print the status. So how to work with it so that, or let's say, what if in this only I want to get the name? Then I can say 0, 1, 2, 3, and this entire thing is 4. And in this 4, it is 0, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1. I'll get the name printed. I hope this makes sense. Now, what if I do not want it like a nested structure? I want a flattened list out of it. Then what to do? So there is something called as extend, extend, right? Order dot extend customer, and in this case, it will give us a flattened list. I will just run this and show it to you. So you can see this. It's all flattened at the same level. It's not a list within a list. And if I have to, let's say, print this name here, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can say order of 5 and that should give me the name. I hope you understood about append and extend. When we say append, it kind of take the structure as it is and embed it there. But when we talk about extend, it internally flattens it out and gives it to you. Right? I hope this makes sense to you. Okay. Now I will remove this customer thing for now, and I will keep this order. Now I want to show you another thing called as enumerate. What if you wish to print each element along with the index? How can you do that? So for that, what you can do is for index comma element in, and I can say enumerate in enumerate, and I can say order. So when we use enumerate, it gives us the index and element both. You can, I mean, these are things that you can say I, E, this will also work, right? But first, at first position, we will get the index, second position, we will get the element itself, right? And then we can print it. Let's say I can say print, and I can use string formatters. So I can say index, uh, index is, let's say, index, right, comma, element is, element is, let's say, element. Let me just try running. At index 0, we have element 1. At index 1, we have element this. At index 2, we have element this. Index 3, we have element this. I mean, I'm just talking about so that you know that there is a way to even retrieve the element and the index on which it is there. So you can do it using enumerate, right? An important thing that you should know. Sometimes it can come really handy for you. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I wish to count the occurrences or count the number of occurrences of each word, just like a word count I want to do. How to do this? So let's say I will define my input list initially. We'll make a solution and then we will keep improvising on that actually. So let's say I will say hello, hello, right? And then I am, again, am I will repeat two times, Sumit, Sumit, like this. Some words are there. I want to count the frequency of each word in this list. That's what I want to do. So how to go about it? Let's say what I will do is, if I have to do using a for loop, how we will do it? I will say result list equal to this, and then I will say uh, I will use a for loop. I can say for word in input list, for word in input list, what I want to do, what I want to do, just think of it, what we can do here. Or directly let's do it with our list comprehension, because I think we have seen enough examples. So by this time you should be confident to do directly with list comprehension. So what we will do is, let us first see what different words are there, how to get what unique words are there, like how to get unique words. So if we convert it to a set, right, set, if I say input list, I will be able to get the list of unique words, yes or no, right? We should be able to get. So I can say input set equal to this. And if I print input set, I will be able to get the list of unique words. You can see this. This is correct. Now this will help us in getting our answer now. How we approach is, what we can do is, for, right, word in, for word in this input set, in this set, right, we are iterating over this set. Let's say this set has 5 words. Now we are iterating over it for word in sets. For this, what we want to do, What we want to do is we want to count the occurrences of each word. Inside what? Inside this list. So I can say list dot count word. That means give me the count of this particular word in this list. And I will wrap it inside these brackets. Right? So again, I think if any of you is getting confused, let me show how we would do it using a for loop. Quickly, I will show you. So I will define my result list. Have I defined? No. So result list equal to empty, right? And then I will say for word in input set. Input set is unique words, right? For word in input set, what I will do is I will say result list dot append, result list dot append. What I wish to append in this, I wish to append the input list dot count of word. That means in this word is coming how many times in this input list, and I am appending this to result list. And then I'll just remove this for now, and then I will say print result list. Right? Let me just see. Hello is coming. Initially, this was set that we are printing, but you can see hello. 1 minute. What I would do is I can say uh, I want to return a tuple of word, comma, count. That would make more sense. That would make more sense. I will put it to a tuple. 1 minute. Right? So result list dot append word, comma, input list dot count word, and I am printing result list. And you can see here, hello coming 1 time, Sumit coming 2 times, hello 1 time, I 1 time, am 2 times. Right? So now you can see that in this solution, solution is perfect, but again, hello coming in uppercase, lowercase are treated differently. We could have done some normalization of cases, right? We could have converted everything to a lowercase, for example. So if we have to convert this to lowercase, then we can again use list comprehension very well, right? And we can do that. How we can do? We can say input list lower equal to, right? The input is this, right? So for x in this, what we, or for each word in this, let's say we want to get what output should be word dot lower, right? That's what we want, and we wrap it inside these kind of cases, brackets, I mean. So now we can use input list lower at all places, right? And here also, instead of input list, we use input list lower. Now this will at least standardize the case. Sumit 2 times, am 2 times, I 1 time, hello 2 times, right? So you can see here also we were able to use list comprehension. That means for each item, take one word and convert it to a lowercase. So we do not have that, okay, we take that one list and convert it to a lowercase altogether. That does not work. You have to iterate over this list, right? I hope this would make sense. So anyways, this print statement I will remove. So you can just have a look at this code, whatever I have, right? Now, instead of we hard coding this, can we take it as input from the user? Can we take it as input from the user? We can say input list equal to, let's say we say uh, input equal to enter the text, enter the text, right? And input list equal to whatever text person will enter, it will be space separated, right? So we can say input dot split based on space, based on space. That means after splitting it based on space, we will get an array, right? And then we can work on this input list just like we were dealing with it. Let me just show you that. Sorry, 1 minute. Right, we forgot to mention this input, right? Uh, so enter the text again. I mean, okay. Let me write Sumit Mittal Sumit. I teach big data, big data, right? And you can see Mittal 1, big 2, data 2, teach 1, Sumit 2, and so on. So we are able to get the results even after taking the input. So we normalize the case to lower case and then we create it. So our strategy was take the input, convert it to a list, capitalize or normalize the case. That means either lower case or upper case, get a set out of it of unique words by just converting this list to a set, so that if there are, let's say we have typed in 150 words but only 50 are unique or different, then it will have those 50 words. And then there is a way that you can get the count of each word for that set. We iterate over the set and get the count of each word using the count function or method, right? That's how we are able to do this. So I hope you kind of understood this particular example, quite important, and we have done it quite well. Okay, so let's see one more example. So let's say we have this particular data, right? We have this particular data, uh, data equal to this, right? This is the data that we have. This is orders related data, but first line is header and then remaining lines are actual data. Now what I want to do is I want to work on this data, and let's say I want to the count the frequency of or count the occurrences of each order status, that how many closed orders are there, how many pending payments are there, how many processing are there, and so on. That's what I want to do. count Count the number of order statuses, right? Each order statuses. That's what I want. That like closed 3 times, or for example, let's say in this closed is 1 2 1 2 2 times, complete might be 3 4 times, and so on. So how do I work on this particular thing, right? So let me start processing it. What I can do is what I can do. So right now I have taken it as a string. That's why I've wrapped it inside three double quotes so that we can have it on multiple lines. As simple as that, right? Now what I will do is I want to first of all take it and remove the first line, right? Remove the first line, and right now this is string. I want to make it like a list or an array, right? And what should be the separator for that? Instead of comma, it should be new line character, because everything coming on a new line is a part of list. So the first element of the list should be this first line, second element of the list should be second line, third element of the list should be the third line, and so on. That's how I want to do it. So let me show you what I can do. I can say data dot split based on what? Split based on backslash and new line character, right? And that should give me what? Lines equal to this. And if I print lines, let's see what it will give me. So you can see this particular thing is one string, the first element of the list, and this is second. So how I can prove that is, if I say lines of 1, it will give me this particular thing. Lines of 1 will give me this particular, the second element. So you can see this. If I want to get the, let's say, this line, 10th line, That means it is the 10th index, right? Okay. So this is fine. What if I want to remove the header from this? Header will be lines of 0, right? So I can just say 1 colon. That's how you use slicing. That means all the elements after the first from the first element we need to consider, ignore the 0th one. Now if I print this, you will see header is not there. We have removed the header, because of course you have to separate out the header, right? You have to separate out the header. Okay, so we got this. Now what we want to do, each element of this, like for example if I say print of this one, right now this is coming as one string, one big string, right? I want to create a tuple of elements for this. Like this should be 0th element of a tuple, this should be first element, like that. How to go about it? What I can do is, I can say, now I will iterate over this particular lines list, and I can use list comprehension for line in lines. That means for each line in lines, what I want to get, what I want to return. I want to return a tuple, so I am enclosing it inside this, right? Right? So I can say tuple line dot split based on what? Comma. Based on comma. Right? Based on comma, and I have to wrap it inside this square brackets. You know that. And I will, let's say line tuple equal to any name you can give. Any name you can give, and I am commenting this print so that it does not create confusion. I can say print lines tuple, and if I print this, you can see we have a list of tuples, right? A list of tuples. This is the at the 0th element of the list, and in this tuple the 0th element is this, first element is this, and so on, right? So now what I want to do is, I want to get a list of only this order status, because I want to get a count of that. So what I can do is, for line in, lines tuple, right? For each line in lines tuple, what I want to do, what I want to get line of 3, because it's at the 0, 1, 2 and third position, right? Line of 3, and I wrap it inside this square brackets, right? And I will say status list equal to this. So all the 10 order statuses I will get in this particular list. Let me print that. I'll comment this anyways, and I'll print this status list. Print status list, right? And you see closed, pending payment, complete. That means for all the 10 orders we have got the order status. Now I give you as assignment, what you need to do is, you know how to do a count of it, that how many closed orders, how many pending payment, how many complete, like that, right? I have talked about similar example. Now I leave this example here so that you can take it as the first assignment, that you count the number of closed orders, number of pending payment, and so on, right? So this becomes your assignment 1. Assignment 1 is, you find, so given this list, right? Given this particular list, given this list, you find the count of each order status, right? That you have to do. Now second assignment that I would give to you is assignment 2. I have this transactions data. This transactions data, I'll put it in the uh, description also. I have this transactions data. What I want you to do is count the number of transactions in each status category, right? That how many success is there, how many pending is there. That means the answer that you would expect from this is success 4, pending 3, and failed 3. That's what I expect from this. But instead of a list of tuples, it is a list of a list. This is a list and this is a list of lists. But you can deal with it exactly the same way. Now, the assignment number 3 that I want to give you is assignment 3, right? I have this particular employees data, again a list of list, right? In this, what I want you to do is find the average salary for each department. Find the average salary for each department, right? That means the answer that I'm expecting is, let me see if I have the answer here. No. So answer that I'm expecting is finance uh, average salary. Use string formatters for this, right? 72500, right? Finance this 70,000 and 75,000, right? So the average is 72500. Same way HR, right? Same way IT. You understood that I've just mentioned one line, but there will be multiple lines under this. So these 3 assignments you need to do. I hope you truly enjoyed the session. I gave my best in order to talk a lot about list comprehensions and list related functions, methods, and I even talked about tuples. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, then I think it's the right time you should subscribe now. That will be a good motivation for me in order to bring more good content for you, right? So do subscribe, like the video, do mention in comment that how did you feel about this particular session, and I would be coming up with next session very soon. Thanks a lot.